Welcome to Going the Distance Live. Of course, Going the Distance Live, sponsored by Harris Teeter Seltzer Water. Anyways, hope everybody had a wonderful holiday. A couple of quick housekeeping things. As always, to start with, Going the Distance Live is, of course, always brought to you by Going the Distance. It's available on Amazon.com if you haven't gotten it. Also available on BarnesandNoble.com. Not in Barnes & Noble stores yet. The more of y'all that buy it, the more of y'all that rate it on Amazon, places like that, more opportunities there might be for it to be out there and more places for you to get. So, hope everybody, like I said, hope everybody had a good Christmas. I had an amazing Christmas this year. And honestly, I couldn't have, outside of maybe getting a Ferrari, I don't think I could have asked for a better Christmas. It was nice to have the whole family under one roof again, and everybody was happy and in a good mood for some odd reason. Probably had something to do with, I don't know, getting all the presents and stuff. But it was good to get some good time with all of us together. I think that's really important. Especially the older you get, the more spread out everybody gets, to get some real good quality time together. It's really awesome to be back in town and see some friends, go for a couple of good runs. In fact, got the opportunity to run with my old high school teammate, Jonathan McGinnis, who it's up there. I've been trying to figure out lately who I've probably run the most miles with in my life. It's up there between him and my best friend, Chris Moen. They're both pretty high in the mileage count together. But McGinnis and I have been arguing politics since probably we were 15 years old. And we have always kind of sat on opposite ends of the political spectrum. But we had some great, healthy debate. In fact, we talked probably for a solid 10 miles one day about the healthcare system. And because obviously he comes at it from a completely different standpoint than I am. I don't even think, like he said, he's been to the doctor in, I think, 2 or 3 years. So we all have different perspectives on it based on what our experiences in life are. And, we have to remember that. And he and I had some great discussions about some ways to actually fix it. And we're reminded that you can have disagreements with each other, but you got to ultimately compromise to find the right solution to the problem. And I don't think that's what anybody's doing, regardless of right or left or center or wherever you want to say. So it was really good to be reminded that you can have a political discussion and not attack each other's character, not feel like the other one's trying to demean you for what you believe, but really have a great conversation and great debate about the way to fix something so that it's better for everybody, not just better for a certain segment of the population. And, I truly believe if we had people, not to toot our own horns, but if we had people in our local Congress and in the Washington, D.C. area, we might be able to get a little more done if people could remember that. So anyways, it's always fun arguing with him, but they're good arguments. They're constructive arguments. You learn things by talking to people that have different ideas than yourself, and it's how you force yourself to grow. And we've, I think, gotten away from that and the political discourse with everybody just pointing fingers and yelling at each other and everything. So I was really reminded when I was running with him that you can really actually have conversations about these things and not get mad at each other and not point fingers or not think the other one's immoral. So that was really, really, really cool. But besides that, Santa was very good to me. I got a new lightsaber for Christmas. I did not have to, but actually, it's not in here. I thought it was in here. I don't have to build a new one this year, which is great because that process is really tedious for any of those that know about building lightsabers. You really have to take a lot of time to meditate and move a bunch of stuff around, because when you're building a lightsaber, you can't actually build it with your hands. You have to build it with the Force. So that's been very difficult recently with finding the time to sit down and do that. So thanks, Mom and Dad, for outfitting me and Tyler and Callie with new lightsabers. There was several lightsaber fights in the house on Christmas morning, like we were all 10 again, and it was awesome. So I hope Santa Claus was good to everybody, and I hope everybody got way too much food in their belly like I did. I don't binge often. Well, I binge a lot, but I don't binge on food like that a lot. Bad food. I binge on a lot of good food. Like the amount of food that I just had tonight is probably disgusting to most people, but I don't binge on bad food like we had. But Mom always does a huge brunch, and it's so awesome. And after Christmas morning, and I pretty much didn't eat the rest of the day after running 13 miles, opening presents, and then eating by like 11. I don't think I ate again until like a snack before dinner, and I really didn't even want to eat then. I just ate because I probably needed to. But that's out of my system. Outside of the leftover Christmas candy, I tried to consume it all on Christmas too, just to get it all out of the way. But it's back at the grind. As I told everybody, I will be back on the indoor track circuit in actually almost one month. We're one day past 1 month out. It looks like January 26th, I'll be opening up my indoor campaign in New York City. Super excited about that. Super excited to get racing again. It's still a bit scary, especially when you're on the track and you're out there and you're starting to etch closer to the times that you are used to running and stuff, but you realize while you are getting really, really close, you still got a long ways to go. But it's exciting seeing fitness gains every single day and every single week. And I really can't wait to get back out there. I can't wait to share my story with more people. I can't wait to beat up on guys like Ford Palmer. Ford, I love you, but it's time to race again. So that's all really, really exciting. The indoor campaign is unfortunately pretty short. It pretty much just lasts the months of January and February, unlike the outdoor season, which can last from, depending on what your focus is, it can last from March to July or April to like September. Some of us race all the way into September when we're healthy. So that's obviously a much larger window of racing opportunities, but the indoor season is short and fast and it's done with. And just like pretty much about like my buildup right now, honestly. It's been short, sweet, really hard, but it's fun. I love indoor track. I actually wish there was more indoor track events. I wish there was bigger indoor track events more often. The indoor track environment really makes you feel like more of a, for lack of a better word, a real athlete. In a real professional athlete, I should say. You're so used to a lot of times running these obscure races in the middle of nowhere, and there might be 20 or 30 people there watching, or just the other competitors sometimes. But indoor track always seems to have a lot of fans there, and everybody's crammed into a small place. So, even if you took a big outdoor track, which is 400 meters, and put 3,000 people out there, which happens at some of the races, it still doesn't seem like too many people. But if you put those 3,000 people inside a warehouse with a 200-meter track in it, and everybody's around that 200-meter track, the intensity is cranked way up, and I absolutely love it. I love being able to feel the crowd. I love being able to hear the crowd, and I just can't wait to have that feeling again. I can't wait to be nervous and be on the start line again. It's going to be awesome. So, anyways, that's kind of a terrible segue, but something I really wanted to talk about tonight. I think it's particularly important as we head into the new year, especially with a lot of people. With a lot of people coming up with New Year's resolutions and everything, as we approach the new year, everybody likes to, kind of come up with something new they want to change about themselves, or challenge themselves, or, make a New Year's resolution to keep for the year, whether that's to go to the gym more often, or, eat healthier, or eat less sweets, or get more sleep, use their cell phone less. You're going to start seeing social media absolutely flooded with them over the next 3 or 4 days. It's honestly going to be nauseating having to read them, but it's fortunately or unfortunately one of those things that everybody buys into. So since everybody buys into it, I'm going to be happy to pitch them something about it. But something that I've kind of toyed around with the idea for a while, but really, really remembered it recently, was how important it is to really, really challenge yourself. And I think that's something that can be very, very important as you do try to come up with a New Year's resolution, because ultimately what you're doing is you're challenging yourself to do something that you haven't been able to do. Whether that's go to the gym more often, whether it's lose some weight, eat healthier, you name it. There's a million New Year's resolutions out there, but ultimately what they all boil down to is challenging yourself. And challenge yourself is very important. And, I remember that a lot this year, being away from a sport where I literally challenge myself every day, multiple times a day, sometimes with every single step that you take. It can be a challenge. And when you have that kind of ripped away from you, you realize how important those challenges are to help you grow as a person, and honestly to help you live a fulfilling life. And those moments where you kind of step out and you overcome something, whether it's just something small like going out for a short run, or deciding not to eat an entire bag of M&Ms, or whatever it is, when you do make that decision and you are a bit better, it's a lot easier to live a more fulfilled and live a more exciting life. And I recently was reminded, I went out, as I guess the last time that we talked, I guess it was a little over 2 weeks ago, that I was out at an indoor track meet, high school meet, trying to sell some of Going the Distance. In case you haven't gotten it, it's available on Amazon.com. I was selling books, and I hadn't really done it kind of in that arena, and I don't specifically mean that place, but I mean in that landscape or that environment, and I sucked at it. And I remembered that I had a lot to learn as a young, for lack of a better word, entrepreneur that's trying something that he has zero experience in, which is marketing. And I had zero experience in writing a book, and don't have a big marketing budget or a publisher behind it. So it's all in what I can do, and all the, all the connections that I can make, all the ways that I can find to market the book, and the ways that I can learn. And I've watched hours of YouTube videos and just, scoured through article after article after article. And, I felt like when I was reading them that they didn't really tell me anything that I didn't know, or hadn't kind of figured out from kind of having to market myself, I guess, as a, as a distance runner, or as a professional distance runner. You're forced to market yourself a lot to shoe companies, especially since I don't have like an agent. You're forced to do that yourself. And so like a lot of that stuff I kind of learned over the last several years, trying to garner sponsorships and get into races and everything. You're constantly fighting and kind of having to promote yourself and put yourself out there. But in this new world of book publishing, I had precisely zero experience. And I was sitting there at the table realizing, wow, I've done a terrible job of presenting this. The event didn't really set the stage for me being there like a lot of other places had when I'd been to sell books or done signings or given talks or whatever, which is fine. That's their prerogative. I was, they're not required to do that. They were basically doing a favor and allowing me to sell books there. But I was sitting there throughout the day and just realizing that, I had to find a new way to present myself that obviously, as much as I like to embrace the vanity of social media and blogs and podcasts and all that sort of stuff, I realized that I really sucked at presenting that stuff in my book to people. Like, I had a table set up, but if nobody really knew who I was, then this book means nothing to them. There's just some weird, creepy guy sitting at a table that just kind of looks lonely off in the corner. And I don't know. So I was like, wow, I really have to change my mindset about this. I can't just come here and expect people to come up to the table or know who I am or expect to see a nice big victory over vasculitis sign. And they have no clue, obviously, what vasculitis is. They have no clue what I am or what I've done or what I've been through. So there's no reason for them to come over to the table. And I've got to figure out a way to engage those people. And I realized that I was doing a terrible job of it. And I realized I sucked at it. And when you suck at something and your livelihood depends upon it at this point in time, you got to get better and you got to challenge yourself. And that's what's been so invigorating about it is challenging myself and getting better at it to promote myself. And of course, that's come through, having conversations with people that know more than me. Some people might have hit it right off the bat. Some people have an eye for that marketing kind of stuff. I'm apparently not one of those. Also, the way I work and the way I do things, I'm the type of person that kind of a slow learner. And when I set out to do something, a lot of times I have to fail a lot before I get it right. Same thing could be said about my running career. The same thing could be said about a lot of the other things I do in life, whether that's learning to play guitar. Everything is like I have to just try something over and over and over and over and over again before I get it right. Some people are fast learners. I'm just not one of those. So it's very cool to realize just how bad I sucked at it, and because I thought that I was good at it because I had been put in situations to succeed beforehand with selling books. I had not had to really go out there cold turkey and do that. And when I went out there to do it, I realized, man, I'm on my own at this and I suck, and I'm going to be doing more things like this. So I'm going to have to figure out how to do this. I can't just sit here at the table. I'm going to have to get up and I'm going to have to engage people. Maybe one or two people might recognize you, or maybe some coaches might recognize you or something and come over. But for the vast majority of the 1,500 to 2,000 people that were in that building, none of them knew who I was, or if they knew who I was, they didn't care enough to come over. So I've got to do a better job of drawing them in. And, I'm working on signage and all this other stuff to help catch people's attention and draw them in and let them know, when they see words like Olympic trials qualifier or vasculitis patient, it'll catch their eye a little more, because a couple of the people that I did have conversations with once things got going, they were like, oh, wow. And then of course, I was able to talk them into buying books, but I didn't have the success that, I was financially planning on. And that's why I said it's so invigorating when you're working for yourself or you're able to do something that you really love. Even if you suck at it, you have to grow and you have to work hard. And it's incredibly rewarding because so much of our society's jobs, they're just kind of looked at like jobs. And when I'm sitting down and reading and doing research or writing or sitting at that event, it's not really work to me. It's fun and it's exciting and I feel so fulfilled. And, when you do get the feedback from people that are having been impacted by what you're doing is so amazing. And I really want more people to have the opportunity to do that. Now, I've been lucky in my life, as I said, that to have parents that have encouraged me to always just do what we love to do, and sort of had that safety net. While that's not always been a financial safety net, my parents have supported me in being able and just telling us to chase our dreams, tell us to do what we love to do. That's what my mom and dad always wanted. And but not everybody's gifted that. A lot of people have external pressures, whether that be having kids, or whether that's having growing up in a family that really, really what's the right way to say this? Really values money and material things, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Things like that are awesome, but when you value those things over finding something that you really love, you end up with people that have to do something that they don't really like, or don't really like spending a lot of time doing. And when you go out and chase your dream, and that's kind of why when a lot of times when I sign stuff or write stuff for write something in somebody's books, and what the books are about is just like giving people the chance or the tools to chase their dream. And that's why, challenging yourself to do that, I think in the new year, whether that dream can be just a side hobby of something you want to be able to find more time during the week to do, or during the month, or challenging yourself to save up some money to be able to go do something that you really enjoy, or buy something that you really like. Because one of the things I love and wish I had more money saved up to do was music instruments. I love guitars, and guitars are really, really expensive, especially the ones that I like, of course. So, those are all things that you should be able to reward yourself to do. But when you challenge yourself to work towards those goals, it's so, so rewarding when you reach them. And, I had always taken that for granted sort of in my running career. And it's only been in the last probably year or two that I really understood what it meant to challenge yourself and work and achieve a goal. As some of you may know, or many of you may know or don't know, I don't know who hadn't really looked to see who's on here tonight. I made the Olympic trials in 2016, and that was incredibly rewarding experience. And it was so awesome to be able to check something off your bucket list that you had literally dreamed about since you were 13 years old. But at the same time, like, I've challenged myself since then to get back there and be able to enjoy that experience more while I was there. And that was, what I'm working towards. Like, I didn't handle that stage well, and I want to go back there and, even if I theoretically don't run any better than I did last time I was there, at least I'll go back and be able to enjoy the 10 days or 8 days that you're actually there, dealing with the meet. And, you're constantly challenging yourself because, I didn't realize that like, that's the thing about running. And when you've 2/3 of your life to be consumed by a sport that, requires you to get out every day and work towards a goal and have a goal every single day, when you don't have that, you realize, like, I realized this year, like, not having a challenge like that could have sank me. Now, luckily, I had going the distance once again to work on. So that was obviously challenging, as I said, and I'm constantly learning with the book. Because right now my livelihood, it depends on two things. It depends on how fast I can run and how many books I can sell, and how many athletes I can coach. And those three things I all love doing. And I love helping people reach goals that they didn't think that they could achieve. And that's why I share on this podcast. That's why I talk to groups. That's why I talk to people. That's why I wrote this book. That's really what it's all about, is challenging yourself. And, I love being challenged as a coach too. Like when I'm working with athletes, like if an athlete doesn't give me a lot of feedback, or an athlete's really, really easy to coach, it's honestly kind of boring. And if there's, I love the puzzle pieces of putting together of training plans of people that, have had something going on, or are coming back from a big injury, or have always had one injury or two injuries that have plagued them for their whole career. I love kind of trying to tinker and find out what really, really works. Those are the exciting things. Nothing against my friend Andy Hash, but he's easy to coach. He does exactly what I tell him, like 99.9% of the time. He follows directions. He doesn't get hurt a lot. He's really, really easy to coach. And don't get me wrong, I love coaching people that have as much passion as Andy does about running. But, I love being able to having to tinker and toy with figuring out people's work schedules and people's goals, and how you kind of figure that all in with maybe somebody having, like a vasculitis disorder, like I have. Like I've coached some people that have had some of the same issues that I have, and that's fun to be able to like work and figure out how to make that work for them. And it's probably why I would have made a good coach had I chose to go on that field, and maybe I still will down the line. But I've got other endeavors, and I'll always, when I say coach, I mean college coach or high school coach. That was what I wanted to do for the first, from time I was probably 15 till I was probably 27 or 28 years old. I thought I wanted to go on and be a college coach. And maybe I still might. You never say never. And I especially try to say never, except for when it comes to a marathon, because I'll never do it. But, it's, I done lost my train of thought now because of the marathon. The college coaching thing. Yeah. So it's something I always thought I wanted to do. But there's some other things that have arisen in my life that have given me some other passions, and I want to see those through. But I enjoy coaching people on the side. And if somebody's out there listening to this and, are interested in finding a personal coach, whether that's somebody to tell you what to do every single day, or and having constant contact, or whether you just need a rough guideline to follow, or some feedback on the things that you're doing, you can flip over to BrandonHudgens.com, and there's a Hudgens training program on there. If you want to look at some of the packages, or just shoot me an email at HudgensTraining.com. I'm always available to talk. I've put myself out there. I'm constantly around, responding to messages to people kind of around the world. And, whether that stuff just dealing with vasculitis, or whether that stuff dealing with training or racing or whatever it is. But if you're looking for a coach, find somebody that likes to challenge you, whether that's me or anybody or somebody else, or whether that's a personal trainer in your area. If they don't enjoy seeing you succeed and challenge and push yourself, then they're probably not the right personal trainer for you. Not to knock on some of the personal trainers that I've seen over the years, but so many of them, you kind of see them, especially if you spend a lot of time in the gym like I do you see them with multiple clients, and you see just kind of their lack of enthusiasm, or they're not really paying attention to their client. They're letting their client get away with bad form, or they're on their phone while their clients were doing an exercise, and their client's back might be to them, and they might be on their phone. Those people aren't people that are really, really engaged with you. So, find somebody that's going to challenge you, find somebody that's going to push you, and help you reach those goals. And I'm going to keep blasting and sharing the things that I learned, because as I said, this is a learning process for me. This podcast is a learning process for me. I still suck at this. I'm especially bad at just talking by myself. I feel like the interviews have gone pretty well that I've done with Mom and Dad and Adam Jones. And if anybody saw the one with Andrew Colley 2 weeks ago, he probably is the one that gave me the flu. Not from the podcast, but probably from what we did afterwards. So, anyways, you know, podcasting and talking and sharing is another avenue for me to get things out there. And I sucked a lot at this when I first started a few weeks ago or a few months ago, and I've gotten better every week. And I hope the information is getting out there, and, you know, having interactions with all of y'all has been super exciting. So, you know, that's what I want people to be able to do. And, you know, you see so much, and it's just the way our society's run, and it's, you know, hopefully one day it'll change. But, you know, I've naively bought into the American dream of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I think the pursuit of happiness shouldn't be having to be tied to a job that's a 9 to 5 in a cubicle, because I just don't think humans are meant to do that. And I think there's a lot of people that are severely unhappy with what they do and where they're at, and feel stuck. And I want to get out there and encourage people to challenge themselves and find things they love to do, so that they can just be a little happier. Because I think with all the crap that's going on in the world right now, regardless of your political views, in the political spectrum, we could all use a little more happiness. We all could use a little more hugs. We could all use, you know, just telling people you love them. That's something it used to weird me out when, and somebody that comes from a really loving, hugging, caring family, used to wear me out all the time when my friend Cameron Bean used to always say, "Love you, man. Love you, bye," when he'd hang up the phone. Or when we were like parting ways from a run, or leaving work together when we were working together, you know, and I didn't realize how important what he was saying was. And, you know, telling the people that you love them, and, you know, just encouraging each other and lifting everybody up around you. And, you know, I don't want to sound like some freaking hippie flower child, because I'm not. In fact, I had a long conversation with my best friend Chris Moen over the weekend about who am I to judge, and literally we mean like, not like who am I to judge, like, oh, like you know, I'm humble, I can't judge. Like, no, literally, who can we judge? Because we were looking for people to judge. So I'm by no means a saint, or some hippie flower child that doesn't get angry, or doesn't get mad, or doesn't get worked up. You know, it's really easy for me to buy into all that, but ultimately it's really, really fun to do things that you love, and it's awesome. And it's a lot of fun to you know, chase my dreams and chase my goals. And, you know, because for the first, you know, I finished graduate school in 2011, and then, you know, until 2016, for those 5 years there, I was working a lot of different jobs. Some of them I kind of liked, some of them I didn't like at all, and some that I really, really hated and were unfulfilling. But it was always okay, because it was a means to an end for me, for my running. And that was okay, and I was able to slave through it. But I don't want to go back to that. That's why I'm going to continue trying to figure out ways to market this book, Going the Distance, which is on Amazon. If you're 30 minutes or 40 minutes, however long we are into this, and you haven't figured out that Going the Distance is available on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com, then I've not done my job appropriately. So, like I said, I'm working on this marketing thing. So, and speaking of marketing, I should probably get my Skechers Performance logo in there for you. So it's a nice Skechers jacket. It's been one of my favorites for the last year. Who doesn't love a good old school track jacket? Anyways, also super excited about being on board with Skechers Performance again in 2017. You know, if you haven't tried their shoes, give them a try. My feet are very happy all the time. You know, people unfortunately associate Skechers with people like Kim Kardashian and the Shape Ups. But I can guarantee you that if you use those shoes appropriately, that your butt will look very, very nice. And you don't have to wear the Shape Ups. So anyways, it's exciting to be a part of a brand that honestly is not one of the mainstream ones. And when people ask me like, oh, do you actually run in Skechers? And I'm like, yeah, No, they just give me them and sponsor me, and then I don't run in them or don't like them. No, I actually enjoy running in them all the time. But it's cool, and that's one of the things that's kind of helped me out with not knowing much about marketing is figuring out how to talk and engage with people that like don't know anything about Skechers trying to get into the running game. And it's all part of this crazy learning process that I've had this year. And probably I would not have gone through much of this at all had I still been running and training really hard. And racing, I probably would not have been forced to learn a lot of these things. Now, granted, I really wish that's what I had been doing in 2017, getting some redemption for some of the things that had happened in 2016, but that's not how life worked out this year. But I've learned a lot and I've grown a lot this year, and I'm the most stable I've ever been in my entire life, emotionally, not financially, but emotionally. And that's way better to me than the financial thing. It'll work out. It gets really, really stressful sometimes, especially around the holidays when you're trying to, figure out, because I love giving gifts, and you got to get creative. In fact, the next blog, the blog I'm actually currently working on, that I think will be hopefully a hit, who knows, is about how to ball on a budget. That's one of the huge skills that I realized that I've acquired over the last couple of years of learning how to, even shop and eat really healthy. It's mainly going to, balling on a budget, mainly referring to being able to eat healthy and still buy good foods at the grocery store, despite not being able to having the budget to spend a lot of money, because that's a lot of people's qualms with eating healthier is that, I can't afford to eat healthy. And that's not true. I've figured out how to do it, and I'm going to share it with you. So look for that here coming in the next couple of weeks. It's a pretty dense one, and I want to make sure I get it right. Learning how to ball on a budget is something that's extremely important. And because we all hit snags in life. Sometimes you accidentally break the disposal a couple of weeks before Christmas and have to pay to have it fixed. So sometimes you just got to learn to ball on a budget, if you know what I mean. Until Going the Distance sells like millions of copies, I'm going to have to continue to ball on a budget and figure out how to get this done and figure out how to chase this crazy dream. Bud Galloway, what is up, homie? Bud Galloway is another dear friend of mine. Bud is also chasing the dream, living that Hollywood life. So, and Bud, I can guarantee you will tell you the same thing that I know, which is it's a grind. It sucks sometimes, but man, it can be fun. Bud, I'm gonna get out to see you soon. Hopefully 2017, I'll be back out in California, Southern Cal sometime. So we'll have to hang out, maybe hit the Hollywood Strip again. So anyways, Bud took me to a few of his spots when I was out at Mount Sac Relays in 2016. Some of those places I'd read in all those books about my favorite rock and roll artists over the years. So anyways, but Bud's living the dream. Bud's uncle also lived the dream for years. Bud's uncle was on the 72 Olympic team with Prefontaine, if I'm not mistaken. Jeff Galloway invented the run walk method. If you've never heard about it or know what that is, Jeff Galloway started a big movement probably in the 80s about running and walking to your marathon PR, because he figured out after all the damage that he had done to his body over the years that he wasn't going to be able to continue running at a high level, and that stopping and walking during a marathon is not always a bad thing. I'll never find out because I won't ever run a marathon. There's other challenges I would like to conquer. But running 26.2 miles just does not seem fun. It sounds like 25.2 miles too long. So anyways, if anybody's got any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. I've rambled on enough here about challenging yourself in the new year. And that's honestly, if you making specific changes. I hate it. I hate it when everybody you see people's New Year's resolution, and I'm honestly going to hate going to the gym next week. I might even get up even earlier, and I hate getting up earlier. I might get up early just to go to the gym early, just to avoid people, because I'm losing large chunks of my life to asses that are curling in the squat rack, and not utilizing the squat rack for what it's meant to, which is squat. But apparently their biceps are more important than their hamstrings, their glutes, and their quads, especially by judging by the size of their legs. They're going to topple over at some point in time, and I'm going to laugh, and it's going to be funny, because they're going to be nice old people that can't walk and have brittle legs. But it's cool because they'll have good biceps. So anyways, random study I read the other day, they're linking life expectancy to people's leg strength. So don't skip leg day, kids. As you get older, things that happen to old people, they teeter over a lot. They fall and they break things. And they figured out that if you got a good foundation and good legs, you know what? You don't fall as often and you don't break as many things, and you might live a little longer. So don't skip leg day. I don't skip leg day, and I run a lot. Leg day is very important, kids. So get out and do leg day in the new year. That should be your New Year's resolution. No, but anyways, what I was saying is, before I got sidetracked about assholes at the gym that like to curl in the squat rack instead of squat like they're supposed to. The specific change thing, you see so many people go through it, and we've seen so many people sign up for plans for the year. Gym membership will spike, and by February, it's back to the same guys that were there. So, I don't like seeing people do that. If the new year is what you need, then so be it. But I've read a lot of people's books, and books, honestly, kind of similar to what going the distance is like. And so many, I don't think I've ever read one of them and they were like, yeah, you know what? I really just made a New Year's resolution to myself that I was going to qualify for the Olympic trials, or I was going to write a new book, or I was going to get a new job. I was going to be a little happier. You don't see people toting about that. I hadn't even heard, was it Anthony Robbins is the big motivational guy? I don't think Anthony Robbins woke up on New Year's Eve and was like, or New Year's Day, and was like, oh man, I'm going to be one of the most inspirational people to ever live. And I'm going to help people figure out how to chase their dreams and make millions of dollars and take these people on this insane, self-exploration journey to be able to change who they are and learn and grow. And, it doesn't happen around things like that. So if you're looking to make a change, make it so it's something that it's permanent, and, don't just tie it to one thing. Don't tie it to just a health thing. Don't tie it to, a food thing or whatever it is. Tie it to challenging yourself. And if you, if you're constantly challenging yourself, you're going to grow as a person, and that's important because that will leak into all facets of your life. And that's, what I would like to depart on everybody this week. It's been something that I've spent a lot thinking about the last couple of weeks, because I got knocked out of my comfort zone, honestly, and I've gotten knocked out of my comfort zone a lot this year, and that is okay. One thing running has given me running, and honestly vasculitis too, unfortunately, they've given me this capacity to be uncomfortable. That's what running is. You got to learn to be uncomfortable while you're racing, or while you're working out, or while you're running. You just got to learn to be uncomfortable. And sometimes actually when you're really, really sick with vasculitis, as a lot of other vasculitis patients will know, is you don't feel good and you're just going to be uncomfortable, and it's going to suck, but you just got to get through it. And that's really what challenging yourself is being uncomfortable in a situation. And that's what's so awesome, that I had learned this skill through running since I was 10, and learning how to push myself. But not everybody is dumb enough or crazy enough, and quite honestly shouldn't be. Challenge yourself, whether that's challenging yourself to work out more or whatever. Just try to find ways to challenge yourself in the new year. And I think that'll do a better job of keeping people honest, keeping people growing, and keeping people moving forward in life, and keeping people learning, and people living better lives. And so this week was all about challenging yourself. Sorry if I got a little preachy about it, but it's something that struck home, and something that I realized is probably also holding a lot of people back. And it's honestly something that, in thinking about, we're all, at least those of us that are probably borderline clinically insane, you're constantly worried and judging everything that you've put out there and done, and think it sucks. And I was like, man, God, I really wish I'd kind of dived into that a little bit more in my book. So maybe there'll be a revised edition that comes out in a couple of years. Who knows? I don't know. But it's something that's been weighing on my thoughts a lot. And I was like, man, that might really be something that's hanging people up, and something that I can talk about as we go into the new year, because everybody's looking to challenge and change, and, go to the gym more and diet more, or eat healthier, or, not eat an entire bag of family size M&Ms every single week. So I've got an M&M problem right now, and I don't know how to solve it. So if anybody's got any suggestions, I think I'm just going to stick with eating M&Ms, and maybe just running a little bit more, going to the gym a little more. Maybe that'll help out. But at least they're the healthy M&Ms, right? They're the dark chocolate ones. So anyways, the things we do for mouth pleasure, the things that we do just to enjoy the taste of something, the things that we will put in our body, God, just for the pleasure of chewing on something for a few seconds. It's criminal, and it's hard, and I understand that. It's hard to fight those urges. You're fighting something that is ingrained, and not just the human DNA, but we pretty much think about every species, because you got to eat to survive. So you're fighting Mother Nature. I don't know if that's an excuse, or just me trying to use something I know is kind of a fact as an excuse, or whatever. But anyways, don't try to find one nitpicky little thing that you probably, honestly, to be real with you, you're probably going to fail at. Because we've all made New Year's resolutions that we failed at. And, that's what I was thinking about this challenge thing is, you just get out there and challenge yourself to learn something new, challenge yourself to read a book, challenge yourself to, talk to somebody about a viewpoint that you might disagree with, honestly. Cause I guarantee you'll learn something. And, maybe listen to me ramble about random stuff and sound like some hippie flower child tonight. Will challenge you to do something. And if that's the case, then me sitting here and rambling on Facebook has been worth it. These podcasts are, a great platform to get information out there. And if you can tolerate my voice, sometimes I've got good things to say sprinkled in between a lot of the BS. So, get out there. I'm going to just go ahead and wrap this up, because I've just been rambling on long enough now. But I won't see anybody on here probably before the new year, unless something crazy happens that I need to get on here and ramble on about. So get out there and challenge yourself, and you don't have to you don't have to do it in the new year. You can start it tomorrow. You can start it tonight. Whatever it is, just find ways to challenge yourself more and get out of your comfort zone. In all aspects of your life. And I guarantee you, you'll live a little bit more fulfilled life. And it'll be worth it. I can tell you from the other side, that it's worth it. So, anyways, I'm gonna hop off. I've taken enough of your time tonight, guys. Thank you all for tuning in. We will definitely be back in 2018. God, 2017 just literally blinked and it's gone. So we'll be back next week. Hopefully next week I'll be announcing too. I've got the YouTube channel set up for the podcast. I'm working on the platform and finalizing all the graphics and stuff. And we're going to be getting this on a podcast application near you, so it won't just be on Facebook, and so you can digest it however you choose, whether that be at the gym, whether that be in your office. Hopefully it's in your office, and I'm talking about really, really inappropriate things. So anyways, get out there, and I'll hopefully be making announcements about that. Everybody enjoy your New Year's. Be safe, have way too much fun, and wake up in the new year hopefully with a headache and thinking that you may or may not have done enough to justify that headache. So until 2018, guys, I love you all. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Good night.